Thank you. Bonus hour here, so I won't go to music because we don't want to trick you to think the music's on. We have an hour show with three friends of mine, and it's all about Southbury, so I will throw it over to my friend Kevin Bielmeyer, who's been here twice with Lynn Ward for the Waterbury Chamber Hour, and he brought his friends, and I'm going to let him introduce everybody. Thank you, Kevin. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Tom. Thanks for having us in. I want to also mention right off the top that our this hour is possible because of one of our guests here in the studio, Dr. Jack Zazzaro. So I want to mention that we have Jack with us this morning, or this afternoon now, and also First Selectman of Southbury, Jeffrey Manville. So all three of us are here in the studio together with you, Tom. And before we go any further, I want to toss it over to Jack and just, Jack, you know, the first thing I'm curious about is how long has your business been in Southbury?
Well, it's interesting you say that, Kevin, because next year in May will be our 20th anniversary of opening in Southbury. Wow. So we're hoping to do something special next year. I'm not sure what it'll be, if we'll do an open house or some kind of a celebration. Absolutely. You know, that's one of the things we've been trying to do, is not just doing grand ribbon-cutting openings, but also anniversaries. You know, especially with COVID, a lot of folks weren't doing any kind of, you know, in-person celebration. So when COVID started to dissipate a little bit and we started to open up, we went back to those businesses who had those 1 and now 2 year anniversaries and said, let's do a ribbon cutting. So I think a 20th year anniversary is certainly warrants doing that, wouldn't you say? Yeah, it's very momentous. We've been really happy to be a part of this wonderful community in Southbury, and you know, we're prospering and we're really helping a lot of people. As you may know, dentistry has changed quite a bit, you know, in the last 10 years, and you know, the digital revolution has kind of taken over. There's much less impressions and more little movies we take of mouths. Of course, with the popularity of implants, we're doing kind of things that we used to think was, you know, amazing, and providing comprehensive dental care and making people's lives better. When I say comprehensive, we do everything, you know, from cleanings to reconstructions, from cosmetic stuff to you know, root canals and gum surgeries.
So Tom Hill's a patient. Don't I have beautiful teeth because of you?
Tom is a happy patient. It's great to see that lovely smile today.
I'm due, though. I'll admit that I'm due. Kevin, you have a little job to do over there.
Well, yeah, you mentioned Smile. Dr. Smile, I know, is what you're known around the area as. So Tom's proof of that. I want to let you know that we are open for calls. So if you want to call in and ask Jack or our First Selectman, Jeffrey Manville, or myself any questions, you can dial in at 203-757-1320. That's 203-757-1320. And before we get back to talking about teeth, let me toss it over to Jeff Manville, our First Selectman, and welcome him to the studio, WATR, and happy to say a few words.
So, well, thank you, and thank you for having me here. You're talking about questions here. I'd like to ask Dr. Smile a question. You've been here in Southbury for 20 years. I'm curious, first, why you came to Southbury to open up your practice, and what you found over the past 20 years of having a practice and a business, essentially, in the town of Southbury.
Well, that's a great question. You know, when I first came to Southbury, it was just starting its evolution. And I used to tell people, I think Southbury is going to be like the new Glastonbury, where there was a lot of growth and a lot of new businesses and new restaurants. And it kind of took a while to get going, but I think that I was so glad that I came to Southbury, because its governance is so good. Its management is so good. Things are well thought out. I've never had any problems with any of my permitting or anything to do with the town government, but the people are great. It's a nice mix of people, and we really, really enjoy the town. And because of that, I think that's one of the reasons I've gotten involved, you know, on economic development. I've been there for over 10 years, and of course did a lot of work with the Southbury Chamber of Commerce, and then later the Southbury Business Association, which now has evolved into the Southbury Chamber, which is really exciting and gives us a lot of momentum to continue to grow business in this town.
Well, certainly your practice is known in Southbury, and you've been there, like I said, for 20 years. And I want to say to the public that you've always given back to the community tremendously. You're at every turkey trots, you're at so many events, and I think that's part of why having you almost as a partner in Southbury over the years, you've helped make it what it is today. And it's nice that I think a lot of our businesses come into Southbury and are partnering with us and lifting the entire boat that's in Southbury.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. That's really nice to hear. I think one of the other things that makes our particular business special is we have very low turnover. We have a great staff, wonderful ladies who help me and help make it a very special place to come get your dental care.
Jack, what's the address of your location there? Tell everybody.
It's 316 Main Street South. We're very close to, people know Local Gourmet, and they know Denmo's in town, and we're right there, 316 Main Street South, 203-264-0244 if you want to get a hold of us. And
Jack, have you been at 316 the whole time, these 20 years?
The whole time. Before that, I was in 1389 West Main Street in Waterbury for about 25 years.
You're that old?
It's all that good living.
I'm going to post their pictures. Did I do it on mine too as well? Because I should post their pictures on the Facebook. This is quite a nice round of guys now. Okay, let's have a nice smile, and I'll put that up while you're talking. Okay, Kevin, would you also just talk a little bit about Southbury Economic Development, your role, and why you chose WATR? You have 3 more shows coming as well, at weekly, same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, economic development is something that's been, happening in Southbury long before I got there. As Jack mentioned, he serves on the Economic Development Commission for a decade, and we have, the service of our citizens is so important to the success of the town. And we touched on it being a very well planned town, and that it is. We have an award-winning streetscape on Main Street and a thriving business community. So what basically seemed to happen with the town said, if we want to manage the growth, let's say, Southbury's in a very attractive place to come and open a business. No doubt about it. I don't think anybody thought, we need someone like me to come in because, nobody wants to open a business in Southbury. It's quite the opposite. There's plenty of people that want to open a business in Southbury, and they've continued to do so. It's just helping the town be, a very business-friendly one, somebody to be an advocate for the businesses, to help them navigate the ins and outs and do the right thing with the permitting, et cetera, and just finding the right spot and finding the right makeup and mix of businesses. And that's kind of one of the things I've been trying to help do. I've been in town almost 4 years this October, first economic development director for the town, so it's a new position to the town, and I have to say right from the very get-go, stepping into town hall, it's been a very supportive environment, top down, of course, with our first selectman, Jeff Manville, who was there when I stepped in, and he's there now, and that's made all the difference as well. But a really supportive team in our planning and zoning department. So, it's been a continuous growth curve right on through COVID. We really didn't miss a step. Any businesses that went out were probably going out anyway, and so COVID sort of just rushed things along. But then new ones, quickly came in to fill the void.
The phone lines are open, 203-757-1320. Kevin will reintroduce his guests in just a minute. And again, we'd invite phone calls, any economic development topic. And by the way, Ron Pugliese said to say hello to all 3 of you.
Hello, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
From Naugatuck Economic Development. And I know, Kevin, you're involved in the Economic Development Club throughout the state, and that must be beneficial to you with regard to what you're bringing back to Southbury. And at some point, I'd like to ask the first selectman about how he thinks your performance is.
Well, so far, we haven't had to have any conversations along, which is a good thing. And Kevin certainly has been very much supporting our local businesses. COVID really put a very dampener on our businesses and made things very difficult. And through Kevin's support, but also the support of the people of the town of Southbury, there was a lot of support for our local businesses, including our restaurants, which there was a lot of takeout, and people were actually, I think they were getting more takeout than they normally would just in order to keep our restaurants and businesses, and I think all the businesses in town, and Jack Zazzaro, Dr. Zazzaro is an example of that. with the work they give back to support all the businesses that come come into Southbury, and it gets a little contagious that everybody wants to keep the businesses doing well. Restaurants care about each other, and they know each other. They support each other. So it's a great thing in our town. I'm really happy with Kevin and what he's been able to get done.
Well, thank you for that, First Selectman Manville. Appreciate that. That I can count on that my job for another year, maybe. Right?
We'll see.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget. But it's a very special time for the town because we're celebrating our 350th anniversary this year. Since 1673, when the area was initially settled by a group of colonists from Stratford that ventured up the Housatonic Valley to settle in the Pomprog Valley, and they got this whole area going back in, like I said, 1673. And so this is a special year of celebration. The town is holding a year-long series of activities and events celebrating 350 years of community, culture, and history. Every single month we've got stuff going on, and I've been happy to be a part of that and help with the steering committee that's been working on it. And something just coming up along those lines on this Saturday, June 10th, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, will be the Historic Buildings Open House. We have 3 historic buildings that are owned by the town of Southbury, and they'll be open for visitors. So let's take a step back in time. It's obviously free to anybody that would like to come. It's the Old Town Hall, the South Britain Library, and the Bullet Hill School. Again, 10 to 3 this Saturday. It's part of the overall state's open house, which is through the tourism division of the state. So we participate in that. We do it every year, but this year we've expanded it to include all 3 locations instead of just the one. And to learn more about all of our 350th activities, do go visit www.southbury-ct.org/350 on our website to learn a little bit more.
I got a quick one. I've got a quick one, Mr. Jack Zazzaro. Just a little review. I dealt with you many times as the president. I think you were Tri-Bury Chamber and Southbury Chamber before you merged with Waterbury Regional Chamber. But I'd just like to say what a nice job you did over the years with the presidency job, and you took it how many years in a row? And it just was always a pleasure with all the different events you ran that were rather intimate. And Jeff, I had dinner with you at one of these meetings on the patio at the Heritage Village Golf Course. So you did a great job, Jack, over the years.
Well, thanks very much. We could try to keep things going. COVID certainly was a struggle. We did have what was the name, Kevin? We had a nice restaurant supporting.
Which one is that? We went to the 1850 house. Is the event he's talking about?
Right, the 1850. But we had a bunch of them when we put up the signs, and we had there's a special name for that. But anyway, we did a
Restaurant Week.
Restaurant Week was a different one.
Okay.
This was just supporting the takeout and encouraging people to go, and then there was a raffle associated with it, and we would announce the winners on Facebook every week.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You were talking about, we did a restaurant, 10-week restaurant winter promo is what that was, right. And all the restaurants donated gift cards, and every single week we would, people would turn in their receipts. If they went to a restaurant and spent at least $25, they could turn in their receipt, and that receipt put them into a raffle. And right, Jack and I would host these Facebook Live drawings. We did it for 10 straight weeks during the pandemic, encouraging people to get out and enjoy the restaurants, and they did. We tallied it up. There was $18,000 worth of receipts that were turned in.
It was very, very popular, and I will say that we're very pleased that the evolution of the business community has gone into the Southbury Chamber, because there's a lot of work to do it right, and the resources of Lynn Ward and the Waterbury Regional Chamber merging with our local talent has really made a big difference. Thanks, Tom.
Our pleasure. I always enjoyed your hospitality. I think people that are going to be president or the leader of these chambers need to be outgoing, and Kevin Bielmeyer is certainly a potential president. You're a marketing machine, dude.
Well, it's funny. When we created the Southbury Chamber, we were, Lynn Ward, the president, and I discussed, how I would be involved. And I said, well, I'm happy to serve on the board as I do, but I certainly didn't want to be the leader of the board, because I said, honestly, I want an ally. I want somebody else, to be the leader of the board so that they can work with me, and it's, not too much on my shoulders. So happy to say that we have Charlie Berger, who is head of Chatfield's True Valley, doing a great job as the first head of our Southbury Chamber Board, and he's been a terrific support for the chamber and for the business community. And Jack, I think you know what's something that's coming up.
Right. On that vein, Tom, we're going to be starting some more within Southbury get-togethers, which I know you really like to come and enjoy.
I like face-to-face, Jack.
Exactly. Press the flesh. So the first one is going to be July 16th at the Cavalry Church on Kettletown Road at 8 a.m. Anyone is welcome to meet the Southbury Chamber Board and explore membership with our group. June. Yes, it's next week or this week.
It's what is it? Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yeah.
So 8 a.m. We're really looking forward to our first Wake Up Your Business Southbury Chamber to again get together face to face in a small group setting right in Southbury, and of course we're looking for new members.
And this also gives me the opportunity to attend a lot of these meetings and see our business people face to face, a more casual way to discuss their issues or concerns. And from time to time, businesses will give me a call and say, "I'm questioning. Is there something we can do to move this forward, or what we're looking to do?" And I think it's important that the businesses and the people in Southbury know that they're face-to-face with their civic leaders, all of us, not just the first selectman, but that there's also a board of selectmen that is also important, so they understand the needs of the business community also. It's not a one-man show, in my opinion.
Well, and I've experienced that personally. What did you call that restaurant now on the golf course? 1850 House? Out on the porch.
House, yeah.
In Southbury Business Meeting. Kevin, before we take our break at 12:30, would you talk about your next few weeks' programs? You'll be back every Wednesday at 12:10 for at least 3 more shows.
Right, that's great. It's a great opportunity to be here at WATR. We're going to be doing this the next 3 Wednesdays. So the next Wednesday coming up on the, it's at the 14th is going to be Vince Capoletti, who's going to be opening up his new restaurant in town called Monty's Downtown and American Pub at 775 Main Street South, which is the Southbury Green. He's also the owner of Lucas Local, the Oyster Bar, and Lansing and Grill, and Mission Salad, all located at 775 Main Street South. So this will be his 3rd restaurant he's opening in town, and it's opening up next week. And so he's going to come in and talk a little bit about why he has tripled down on Southbury with the restaurant scene. And following that, the week after that, on the 21st, we have Stevie Sacco, a young entrepreneur who has just opened up her first place called the Bevy Company at 22 Poverty Road. She's already open for business and doing well. She's well known in the restaurant scene in town because she's been here her whole life and has dedicated her already very robust career that she's had. So we're happy she took the risk, plunge, and opened her own place, and she's doing well. So she's going to come in and talk about that on the 21st. And then we're going to round up the month, the last Wednesday, with Michael Ferrara of Southbury.com. Southbury.com is a business in town, which is a website, and is doing great, and he's been very supportive over the last 3 years of our business community. But joining me for this one is the inaugural Southbury Radio Hour is Dr. Jack Zazzaro, who is not only our guest today, but he's also our sponsor. His practice is at 316 Main Street South, and Southbury's first selectman, Jeffrey Manville, is with us as well. So all 3 of us will be back for the second half hour, but now we're going to take a break.
We're live. Don't go away. Just giving you a little Marty Q bumper music. Marty's got a couple of new CDs out. This one is Pause With Me, and the other one is Denim Soul, and he'll be in to visit us shortly. I just wanted to remind the audience, I've just got an extra week. I'll be here till July 14th at per the request of Tom Shute, and then we're going to nominate Kevin Bielmeyer to be a host of Talk of the Town. You're pretty good at this, dude.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome back to WATR 1320 AM, 97.7 FM, or streaming at WATR.com. This is the first Southbury Radio Hour, the inaugural show for all things Southbury. And I'm very pleased to have with Tom and I in the studio Dr. Jack Zazzaro of the Dr. Smile, as he's often called. He's our guest and sponsor today. His practice is at 316 Main Street South. And our first selectman of Southbury, Jeffrey Manville, joining us in the studio. And if you have a call, a question, it can no question too big, too small, hit us with it. Call in 203-757-1320, 203-757-1320. And we're talking about all things Southbury, but of course I'm the Economic Development Director, so we're talking business. And the EDC, the Economic Development Commission, has been serving the town as volunteers for decades. And Jack Zazzaro, our guest and sponsor today, is a long-serving member of that EDC after 10 years of service, and he's still going strong. And he joins me also with the Southbury Chamber, which was newly formed in September 1st, and was formerly for 52 years the Southbury Business Association, which he had previously served on as well. Wonderful service over that half a century. But the Southbury Chamber is powered by, I like to say, the Waterbury Regional Chamber. And what that does is it gives us an enormous amount of resources. They have about 8 staff members. And so when we hold events, they really know how to pull it together and really get the word out. And so, Jack, I know you mentioned this in the first half hour, but maybe throw a mention to our listeners this half hour about what's coming up with the first networking in town by the new Southbury Chamber.
Well, we like to do some events right in town. As you know, with the Waterbury Chamber, has many towns that it services, and we go to a lot of those Waterbury Regional Chamber meetings to network. But sometimes it's nice to have something closer to home, and so the second Friday of each month, actually next Friday, will be the first one at Calvary Church on Kettletown Road, Southbury. And it's a nice opportunity to meet the Southbury Chamber members, their board, and to consider all the advantages for very inexpensively being a part of this group to foster your business and grow your business. So we look forward to that. We call it Wake Up Your Business, second Friday of each month at the Calvary Church.
I love the name Wake Up Your Business. And joining us at that event, you can meet him in person, is First Selectman Jeff Manville. Jeff, you'll be joining us for this first one, and we appreciate you coming in for that.
I'd be happy. I'm more than thrilled to be joining on this first one, and time allowing from my position, if I can make the others, I would be happy to go. It's hard to get to every single thing that goes on because there's so much going on. But I do want to say, this is at Calvary Church, and I want to say that in our community, one of the strongholds of Southbury that's been a key part of it, and the environment that we've built on, has been the religious organizations. They are very intertwined. They get together and meet with each other, all the clergy, all the time. And they open their doors to a lot of the Southbury, and they're a very important part of how our town is and what we have. So that's just another piece of Southbury, not just our businesses, but our houses of worship that are so important to us, and what they provide for our town, like a meeting place for this next Friday, which is wonderful.
It is. The houses of worship have been terrific. We had these for the 350th. We had the talent show that we did recently, and that was donated from B'nai Israel. They donated their Federation Hall for that event, which was very nice. Calvary Church, as we've mentioned, is going to be the meeting spot for our business networking each month. So it's not just this first month. They've allowed us to come in and use that space, and we needed something that was going to be large enough to handle what we hope to be a good-sized group that's going to come in. And also interesting in Calvary, Southbury, is they have a coffee roastery within Calvary, Southbury. They're our first real coffee roastery that we have in town. So I'm looking forward to having the coffee.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yep. But there is, as you mentioned, Jeff, there's a lot going on. So many things. Many things with the 350th. I mentioned that the open house is happening this Saturday from 10 to 3, the historic buildings open house, but also happening on the 10th. And you mentioned House houses of worship is the Strawberry Festival, the annual Strawberry Festival at UCC. And that has grown immensely. It's something like 30, 40 booths, I think.
Yes, it's a large event. A lot of the community comes. People from surrounding towns come. And you can, if you were to go to the event, you can also go over to Bullet Hill School to take a gander of Bullet Hill School. I just want to mention that I go so far back in the town of Southbury that my great-grandfather built the library, the town library, the first freestanding library, which will be open in this weekend.
That's fantastic. That's a great little bit of I never fail. Every time I talk to our first selectman, Jeff Manville, I always learn something new that ties in both history and family. I'll go look at a building, like, look at that terrific building. And they go, oh, actually, my grandfather lived in that building or built that building.
Yes.
Why have you stayed in town? And I know Kevin Bennett. There's a lot of people in Southbury that have been there forever. Why have you stayed, and what has been the allure?
Well,
to Jeff Manville, sir.
To me, this town has provided a great deal. I was fortunate to be born in Southbury and generational. My family does have a small farm in Southbury, but the educational system that is here, and the educational system that's available, I myself went to a trade school in Danbury, to Henry Abbott Tech. But there's a lot of available educational systems. We have 2 grocery stores in town. We have any level of restaurant you're looking for. We have, I would say, world-class medical available from dentistry, if we're talking about here today. So we have a lot of services available, and yet the town still has the rural character and a small town charm. As I say to people, if you live in Southbury, you can be in Vermont in our local farms that are in the area that around, and there's a lot of rural area. It's like being in Vermont, and then you could be home in your own bed in the evening, which is always more comfortable than a hotel. And so that's why I felt, I built my home here. Actually, right now, my daughter and my son-in-law have moved back to Southbury from down south. So that's encouraging.
Big time.
Something here. That's encouraging.
Big time. Jack, a little bit more on the allure of the town, and while you're continuing to have such a dental practice, and why you served so many times on the chamber, at least multi-year president.
Yes, well, I think one thing we need to stress is how important the Region 15 school system is to keeping the town very vital, very strong, great families coming in to make sure they get a great education for their kids. I'm pretty sure Pomperog is always in the top 15 or 16 in the state as far as high school rankings, and I think that really helps to keep the town very vibrant. And of course, we have Heritage Village, which is a very popular and thriving senior community. So we have everything going on, and the way Kevin's been helping to grow it, I think the future is very bright.
It's definitely an attractive town for businesses and people to live, and it's not just the exodus that happened out of New York that brought so many people, as we know, to Connecticut from the city. But that's never really slowed down. I mean, we just have if you talk to any of the realtors in town, both residential or commercial, there's no shortage of interest in being here. And then as we talk to the business community, they're biting at the bit, frankly, to open up a business here. If anything, it's the more that would be available, the more that will come in. I mean, just this month alone, we had 4 new businesses open. I mentioned the Bevy Company. We also have Hummus and Falafel that opened up in Heritage Village. Also in Heritage Village, right across the street from Hummus and Falafel, is Manami Sushi that opened up in the former Friendly's location. And then down over in Southford, we have Heather's Corner Gift Shop that opened up. So, that's just 4 examples of ones that just did ribbon cuttings, and then, like I said, we've got Monty's Downtown opening up next week in the Southbury Green.
Mr. KB2, we have a caller on the Newsmaker hotline. You can answer, please.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Hello, it's Lynn Ward, and I am so happy to hear the voices that I'm hearing today. Wanted to thank you all, gentlemen, for being so supportive of our new Southbury Chamber of Commerce. So pleased to have you as members of our board of directors and supporters in town. So I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do for the Southbury business community and the whole community at large. I know you're doing some fabulous things in Southbury. And from the Chamber's perspective, we really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Lynn. We really appreciate you calling in, and we're glad that you're listening. I know you always listen to WATR, but particularly we're glad you're listening this hour. So when we're happy to serve on the board of directors, it's been a great honor, and I feel very strongly with the direction that the chamber's going, and I think it's much more to come.
Well, we thank you, and we're going to be having our Master Your Membership. We have our Master Your Membership event today, so anyone who is thinking about joining the Chamber or might have joined already for our Southbury Chamber, they can learn more about that. And then we are going to have our Wake Up Your Business in Southbury on Friday. So a lot going on for businesses in Southbury and in the whole region. So thank you again for what you are all doing.
Lynn, do you think KB2 here, the new host extraordinaire, will be able to wake up on time for that meeting?
Well, I think so, because you could do anything you put your mind to.
Just go to bed earlier, that's all.
Lynn, you sound great. Lynn is another one of my happy patients.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, she's got a great smile.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'll let you get back to your conversation.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Phone lines are open. 3 lines open now if you want to talk to any of these gentlemen. 203-757-1320. This is a bonus hour of Talk of the Town, and we're also brought to you by the Savings Bank of Danbury. They have a branch in Southbury at 325 Main Street South, and the Blazes Automobile Group, and I know one of us have probably bought a car there, if not all of us. Carry on, Kevin.
So there's so much going on. Like I said, we have an arts and culture subcommittee of our Economic Development Commission. That's a mouthful. And they've been very active in the last year that they've been formed. And something that they're celebrating this month is Make Music Southbury Day, which is Wednesday, June 21st. It's actually International Make Music Day. So these kinds of celebrations of music are going on all over the country, all over the world, all on June 21st. So it was sort of high time that Southbury said, hey, let's celebrate music right here. And what better day to do it than Make Music Day? So Wednesday, June 21st, there's going to be live performances going on at Senior Ponchos. There's 2 different bands performing, one at 5 and one at 7. The Out of the Barn Band at 5, On the Road Again at 7. The Tavern at Heritage Hotel is getting in on the action. They're lining up musicians for 2 sets at 5 and 7 as well. The Rascaller at 88 Main Street South is going to have Michael Carrington on guitar and vocals from 6 to 8. And the Church of the Epiphany, there's going to be student musicians coming from Region 15 from 5 to 6:30, and then the Rocking Roosters square dancing from 7 to 8 o'clock.
Wow. Now that's Southbury old time. You must have gone, Jeff Manville, being that you grew up in town, to some rooster square dancing meetings.
I'd probably say that I know my parents had gone to these things. I think it was a little too young at that time. But actually, I do know of a number of people from Southbury that still do square dancing. I mean, it's not... I would encourage people to give it a try. It's a lot of fun. It's not like it was when you were in school and they made you do square dancing.
Yes.
It should be a lot of fun. I just want to say that it's there's a lot going on in the town of Southbury. I encourage people to look at our website. And even if you're not from Southbury, certainly look. There's a lot of good entertainment. I know that with my daughter and son-in-law moving back, I'm like, let me feed you this stuff. It's good here too in the Northeast, and encouraging them to explore these little venues here and there, and I want to just give a shout out to Michael Carrington. Thank you for he is a good guitarist and singer.
Is he the attorney?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, he's from a Waterbury family. His dad was a sharp attorney, and he might still play in the Elder League. He was a great hardball player. He probably could have gone to the up the ladder.
He's also
his father Mark Carrington, downtown Waterbury landlord. Yes. Lawyer on Grant Street. Jack, you may be able to talk about him a little bit.
No, but Michael is also on our Economic Development Board.
Yep, he's on our Economic Development Commission, and he's been a good sport because knowing that he plays music, he jumped in. We asked him to be in Southbury's Got Talent, which he did. Then when we had our history walk at Settlers Park, I said, "Boy, it would be nice to have some entertainment there. Would you mind doing that?" So he played for that, and so he's just he plays at the concerts on the green. So it's a good sport about it.
Nice. People think they're loved when their town engineers entertainment in their own town. They really feel good about it. They feel like they're getting their value for the taxes. Maybe all three of you, and we'll start with Mr. Economic Development. Could you give a little lesson to the audience and other people that are on towns, etc., on what your Economic Development Commission is? And I know you're all involved in it, and how it helps the town. Just a little primer on it.
Sure. I mean, like all boards and commissions, it's a volunteer position. And in the case of economic development commissions, it's a group of folks who come together once a month and have a meeting. And they talk about the economic development issues going on in town. So it could be supporting businesses. It could be, doing a little business retention and expansion where you take the litmus test of how businesses are doing, finding out, trying to ward off problems before they occur, should there be any, or maybe they're doing really great and you want them to expand. So they get involved in that. They support not only the businesses, but they support the activities going on in town. Oftentimes it's also community development, not just economic development. So they'll be anything that they can do to support the town. Really, they're not really a kind of commission that is weighing in on some of the regulations, let's say, and permitting, etc. It's not that kind of a commission, but it's definitely if there's a town body that's a cheerleader for the town and a promoter for the town, that's the Economic Development Commission.
Phone lines are open, 203-757-1320. We got 3 lines open, and do it now because this show is on till 1 o'clock live here at WATR. Jack, Dr. Jack.
Thanks, Tom. I would say that I think Kevin pretty much covered what the commission does, and we do support and retain business and the quality of life in Southbury, I would say, is part of our mission statement. But there's other things we haven't gotten to. The free summer concerts, I think, are Wednesdays on the Southbury Green in the evening, and we also have them outside the Senior Center, I think on Mondays. That'll be starting up in a few weeks. We have there's also some concerts out at the Southbury Training School. I'm not sure on the dates of that.
I think Timmy Maya plays there.
Yes.
He's the best of the best.
Every year Timmy comes.
Oh.
It's so good. And then, of course, we have the
square dancing. Square dancing.
Oh, the farmers market.
The farmers market will be starting, I think, next week. So
June 15th.
The town is abuzz, and it's a very vibrant town, and it's all due to the leadership of Jeffrey Manville.
Well, I don't know about that, Jack, but I do have a philosophy that, number one, people need to know that their community is delivering a value to them for what they're paying, their taxes, and what they're expecting. And there's been surveys that 95% or more of the people of Southbury are very happy with their quality of life in Southbury. And I've always maintained we're looking to preserve the quality of life. People have come here and make sure they have a good quality of life. I'm excited that I can't speak to some things right now, but I think certainly soon there will be some other things coming up that people are looking for. Southbury has just put in new pickleball courts.
Ooh.
Yep.
And I'm going to judge how much they are used. We can't get them open soon enough, so there's more recreational things available to keep people active and healthy in Southbury. And so we're that's my philosophy, is to try to keep the quality of life that you come to in Southbury, maintain that good quality or improve that lifestyle.
And as the host of Talk of the Town interim, I would like to just say that I know all these gentlemen personally. I meet Jeff at a lot of Salisbury Chamber meetings and around town with business that I'm conducting. Jack Zazzaro is my dentist, but he's been on Hill's Gallery with me a number of times. He's a music aficionado. And Kevin Bielmeyer, I know him for the minute since he joined the Southbury Economic Development team. And these are real people, everybody. So this is just my unsolicited testimony here on Talk of the Town.
Yeah, we go back to about 2016, actually. I think I was just telling the guys earlier that your footprint, Tom, is so broad. You cover a lot of ground. So in other communities that I've worked earlier, of course we got to know each other in the economic development circles and the commercial real estate circles. So you've been a great supporter.
And we hit it off immediately, I will say, because we're both personalities. With that said, not bragging is just what we are. With that said, we have another Newsmaker hotline call for you, Kevin.
Okay, caller, proceed.
Hello there, Kevin. This is Ron Pugliese. How you doing?
Hey.
I know all three of those people. Actually, all four of those people sitting there around the table, and it's been very interesting. And I'm very, I lived in. My wife and I lived there for 13 years, and it was just a fabulous place. And unfortunately, Jeff Manville told me I had to get out of town, so what I did. But
Ron. Actually, I was very sad to hear that you were moving out of Southbury. You were a great asset to me and to Southbury.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know Kevin's doing a great job. He and I have been friends for a while, and the host of the place there, too. He's one of my very, very closest friends. And then Jack is there, who is also another great guy. So I really enjoyed listening to this. Normally I don't listen to Tom Hill, but this time I did, and I really like Tom. He's a good man.
Okay, I'll send your $2 in the mail.
No, you're going to buy dinner, lunch tomorrow. That's
all right.
Well, thank you for calling in, Ron. For those out in the airwaves don't know, Ron Pugliese, he's heads up the Naugatuck Valley Economic Development Group. And so, you've been a terrific economic development friend of Southbury, friend of myself, and this dream team that we have here in the studio today.
Could you two just give 1 minute each on some of these industry economic development people, associations you guys meet at, and how they benefit you?
Sure.
And I think we should note that, Ron, weren't you president of the EDC in Southbury for some time?
I was on the board there for a little while. Yeah, I wasn't the chairman, but and then I was on the Board of Selectmen for one term, and I really enjoyed it. And I just think it's a great town, and we ended up leaving because of where we were. That it was just getting too, too much money, I guess.
Pricey.
Pricey, that's a good word.
Well, that's the time of your life when sometimes you want to downsize a little bit, and it makes sense.
And
But you'll always be an honorary Southburyan, Ron. We really appreciate all you've done.
Thank you.
Ron, I think what Tom was insinuating is there's like an alphabet soup of agencies in the state for all different things. But the one that's the professional association around economic development is CEDAS, Connecticut Economic Developers Association. And so I've been happy to get involved with them. I'm their first VP now, and that helps kind of keep me plugged into everything that's going around the state. But then you and I, not only do we bump into each other a lot of these different functions, but we come forward with the leadership Waterbury every year, and their group of graduates on Economic Development Day, and talk about how economic development works, and the variance of that, whether it's the city of Waterbury, whether it's the town of Southbury. There's some things are the same, the work's the same, and some things are quite different, and really just it's solving problems and helping move the ball forward.
Well, just before, I don't know, you only have a couple more minutes to get off, but I wanted to say that I was very happy to hear Lynn Ward. She's a very close friend of mine, and I'm glad that you guys in Southbury got with the regional, Waterbury Regional Chamber of Commerce, and she does a great job. I'm hopeful that she's listening to this, but she's a wonderful person, and I'm really glad that Southbury got hooked up with them. It's very good. I work a lot with her here in Naugatuck, and she's great, and the chamber is great, and I'm really happy. And the only thing I didn't like about the whole thing, they had Duck Day the other day, and
quack, quack.
thank you, Tom. And my I didn't win anything. So.
Okay. All right, Ron, hold on. All together, guys.
Bye, Ron.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, take over.
I'm gonna do and I know this is dangerous because quick is never necessarily the right to response, but I'm gonna throw it to First Selectman Manville, because one thing that we didn't touch on that I think is actually so key to Southbury's success, especially when we're talking business, is our fiscal house, let's say, and nobody talks about it better than Jeff Manville.
Well, we have our philosophy. Southbury carries very little debt. All our debt payments, the bonds, the money's in the bank, and no taxpayer pays on those bonds. And what that gives me is the ability to maneuver to deliver the services in Southbury as effectively as we can. So Southbury's in a very stable financial position. They're very conservative on how they do that. But we do very well. Our fire trucks are always updated. Our vehicles are updated. And our roads are in tremendous condition. So people come and they're like, wow, these are really good roads. And it's a long-range plan. And we're doing pretty well that way, and we expect one of the things we can deliver to businesses is stability of their taxes, and that's an important thing.
Absolutely, and that's definitely a selling point that I sometimes lead with as I'm talking to new businesses. You want to come someplace and you want to know what it's going to look like 10 years from now. You're not going to get any
no surprises.
Rude surprises. Exactly. Well, I just really want to thank everyone here today. I want to thank Tom Shute and WATR, Tom Hill of Talk of the Town, letting us do this extended hour.
Our pleasure.
I want to thank my cohort in the studio today, Dr. Jack Zazzaro, who is also our sponsor today, Dr. Smile. Thank you for joining us. And our special guest, First Selectman Jeff Manville, for joining us for this hour as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. You guys are dynamite. You'll be back next Wednesday for 3 more, and you'll see him on social media. You can find Kevin. If somebody wants to call you, what's your number?
Yeah, you can definitely reach out to me at 203-262-0683. That's the Economic Development Office.
This is WATR 1320 AM, Waterbury, Connecticut. See you tomorrow, and we'll be back with news and live music all day. Tom Schute's here in the morning.